From the Corner Office is brought to you by Synovus Bank, championing business growth through trusted, relationship-driven banking throughout the Gulf Coast region. Craig Albernaz is at the top of his game, literally being named manager of the Baltimore Orioles last October. Craig has worked his way up from playing in the minor leagues to then coaching in the minors to then coaching in the big leagues before he got the call from the Orioles, who host spring training in Sarasota. The Business Observer writes about top-of-their-game leaders like Craig every day online and every week in print. To read more, subscribe. Go to businessobserverfl.com. Hello, and welcome to the Business Observer's From the Corner Office podcast. I'm Mark Gordon, managing editor of the Business Observer. Today's guest is Craig Albernaz, manager of the Baltimore Orioles. Craig, welcome, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Excellent. All right, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about your career and especially the Orioles, and exciting coming up. We're recording here late January, cold week, but spring training is coming up. I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to start with a few rapid fire questions for you. Craig, what was your first car?
Oh, my first car was a Isuzu. I forgot the car. It was a car. It was an Isuzu, not Stylus. That's what it was, a Stylus. Yes.
Stylus.
Isuzu Stylus. Yeah, my dad, I think he got it for maybe $1,000 or $2,000 just at the used car dealership around the corner, and it was awesome. It worked out perfect. Yeah.
Yes. Good first car. You were styling your Stylus.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time? Where was it when you lived on your own? When did you live on your own for the first time?
Probably college. Yeah, I went to college over in Eckerd College in St. Pete.
In Petersburg, yeah.
Yeah, I graduated young, graduated at 17 in my first, Eckerd does like an autumn term in August. So my first 2.5 months in college, I was 17. So that was the first time.
Yeah. And what was your first job?
First, real job, on the books?
Real job, yes.
Okay. On the books, I would say it was a Stop and Shop. Yeah, grocery store chain, worked there. Yeah, did stock bread and stuff, and worked there with one of my good friends. So we used to throw the bread around like it was football and run pass patterns in the aisles and stuff.
Love it. On the books, did you have an off the books gig?
Yeah, we all did.
About it?
Yeah, we all did. Yeah, I did. You did I cleaned gutters, put up gutters. I dug some graves at St. Pat Cemetery. We all did it. Yeah, so there's a bunch of off the books jobs.
Yes. All right, I want to get into managing. We're going to talk about the Orioles in a second, but for those who haven't figured it out as they're listening to you talk, where are you from, Craig? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Massachusetts. Fall River, was born there, was raised there, and then we moved to Somerset, which is the next town over. Yeah, so my accent, like I said, left when I was 17 in college. It's still there. The accent's still there. It's not going anywhere.
I'm sure you impressed a lot of people in St. Pete with your Boston accent when you moved to Eckerd College at 17. Loved it.
Yeah. Actually, there's a sneaky lot of mass transplants down there.
There is.
So so they were used to it. But it's funny, when I was in the minor leagues, when we went to these little cities in the South and stuff, a lot of people would ask me what country I was from. So that was different for me. So I used to play along with it.
Right. I'm from the country of Massachusetts, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm from whatever country you want me to be from. I don't care.
Yes. All right, we're going to get into leadership in baseball. And so I'm going to start with October 27th last year was the day you're named manager. Just tell us, Craig, what's that like? I mean, there's one of 30. That's just, you're one of 30 people, and you get this call, I assume, maybe from your agent or maybe from the Orioles, but you get a call saying you're hired. Take us through what that's like for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was taken back. I was very fortunate enough over the past, including this offseason, 3 off seasons, to interview for different teams to be a manager. And it's not like you're anticipating it's going to happen, because you never know. Like you said, one of 30, you have no idea. But in that preparation and having conversations with my family and the people that I trust, my circle, when Mike called and, offered me the job, yeah, it took me back. Yeah, it was, it's very humbling, and all these thoughts go through your head, at least for me it did, about how my road to get here and all the people along the way, and, how much luck and your hard work, like, all this stuff comes in, runs through your head. But it was such a big feeling of gratitude, right? And being able to have that night with just me and my wife and the kids kind of celebrate when no one knew was awesome. So it's such a humbling and experience, and it's something that I don't take lightly because I know the what goes into this role and how daunting it is, and how many people you impact, and that's something that
Yeah.
I don't take lightly.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And talk about impact. From what I've read, when you were with the Guardian, Stephen Vogt was a key mentor of yours, and you guys obviously put together some really good seasons on the field statistically and wins. But tell us about Stephen and kind of what you learned from him in those roles there with Cleveland.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't hear this. I don't wanna speak too highly of him. Not just kidding,
New
but
new competitor now,
he's
yes.
a new competitor, but honestly, like, he's all time, right? And to me, he's born to do that job, born leader, born just cultivator of just an environment where people can thrive, right? And he didn't have, like, this coaching pedigree where, he was in the minor leagues for a long time and did all these things, like, he played, and the person he is and the teammate he was ended up getting him a job with the Seattle Mariners, being a bullpen coach, and a credit to him, like, he learned so much in that 1 year that when he took on that role of being the manager for the first time, and I was very fortunate to be alongside with him on that journey, he was ready for it. And what I learned from him is just the value of being an elite communicator, right? I feel like we all hear that term, we all talk about it, but what actually goes into being an elite communicator, like having the conversation before the conversation, right? Yeah, like repping out, making sure you're using the right words, the right cadence, like all those little things. And that's something where the leadership group with the Guardians are big on too. So being able to kind of sit in that room and with all of us and bounce stuff off each other and, just trying to find ways to keep on getting better. And a lot of the times just comes through just the value of how we communicating with staff members and players.
Yeah, and it seems like specific to him in that season where things weren't going as well, and then you guys turned it on toward the end. Uh, what was it like to him to sort of see him be resilient with the players and be positive in an environment where it could be pretty easy to get negative? What did you see and learn from that?
And that's the crazy thing about last year, like, it was we went through some stuff last year, we had a few things going on, but the thing with Vody was every time he was with the players, you would never know, right? But behind closed doors with me was when, credit to him, like, he would let his guard down and, we would have some real conversations and it would get emotional and in a sense of, like, emotional, like, how can we get better? Where are we what are we missing? What do the boys need in the clubhouse? And we would have those emotional conversations, and then right when he walked out the door, it was behind him, and he was putting on the right face and rallying the troops, and that's something where you have to be resilient, and it really puts a test to taking one day at a time, right? When you go through a stretch like that, it's daunting. You feel like your season's over, but it's not. You play 162 games, and like we showed, you can come back from anything. And so it was literally just putting real stock into taking one day at a time, believing in that process, and then more importantly, making the players believe that they have confidence as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you remember the numbers better than I do, but in September it was still pretty bleak in the beginning of September last year.
There's like 17 games we were
Yeah,
out of first place in the
yeah,
Central Division. Yeah,
yeah. It's
absolutely.
pretty amazing accomplishment. All right, so take us a little bit back, a little bit further back. You were the Midwest League Coach of the Year with the Bowling Green Hot Rods in 2018. Tell us about what worked. You know, as a leader, what did you learn? What worked with that team that year?
Really good players. That's it. Like that's it.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean,
Hire good people. It's a theme of this
it's
podcast.
yeah, it's so true though. Like as a coach, especially in the minor leagues, right? As a minor league manager, you're not about winning games, right? And it's about developing the players to be championship big league players, right? And so where I was at in low A, it's still at the very beginning of their professional career and their roadmap to get to the big leagues. So there was a lot of stuff where it wasn't about winning and losing, right? It was about development. But for me, my message was to the boys was, right when the game starts, it's about winning, right? We're trying to win that game. It's gonna look different each game, right? But it's only gonna help you be a big leaguer that Kevin Cash wants. And so that was a North Star. So it was a constant teaching, good, bad, and indifferent. Like if we won 15 nothing, it was, what do we do wrong? What did each guy do wrong to get better? But still valuing that we won. If we lost, the flip side of that, obviously recognize why we lost and what we did bad, but also where were the wins? Where do we, what was great about that loss and how we played? And, that's something where like you just have to do in low A. And the credit to our guys, man, like it was such a great group to be a part of. And the players always make the coaches look good, right? And when you have really good players, just obviously great people too that want to work and do the right things, and makes your job easier. And the same thing with our staff. So it's a credit to the players, and I was just happy just to be a part of it.
Yeah. Sticking with the Rays, having been in Tampa market for 20 years, you get to see them up close. I have, and they're such an innovative team. They're always out there doing things differently, player development, the starter pitch, different things they did with pitch counts. What did you learn in terms of leadership and managing and leading people with the Rays organization?
That's such a great question. I
Yeah.
learned so much, right? That was my upbringing, one as a player, minor league player for 8 years there, and then also as a minor league staff member. And it was awesome to kind of go back as a coach and as a staff member, because there was no turnover with all the coaches and coordinators with the Rays. So when I came back, it was still the same coaches I had, and then my last year there, I was in charge of all of them, and they were still there, which was awesome. But to me, like the biggest thing, it stuck with me as a player, and I took with that going into as a coach. Whereas, our farm director, he's a special advisor now, Mitch Lukovich. He always used to say, he goes, "No second class citizens." So what he meant by that was, yes, you're a first round pick. You have money invested in you. We traded for you. Yes, there's, prospect capital or some type of trade capital that we gave up. So yeah, you're gonna get more opportunities. But I was an undrafted free agent. I was just there just to be a filler, and I was treated just like everybody else, right? So, like, yeah, I knew my playing time wasn't gonna be the same, but the work before, the coaches that poured into me, the coordinators, everyone, they treated me just like everyone else, right? And to me, that stuck with me as a player, and that's something when I started coaching, same thing. Like, it does not matter where you're at the depth chart, where you're at in your career, like, our job is to coach you, right? And our job is to get you better, and you're in our uniform. How can we develop you to the best person that you can be?
Yeah, no second class citizens. I love that. What a great way to kind of frame everything you're doing.
Oh, there's so many, like, Rays analogies when I
Yeah.
was in my upbringing that are quote unquote "old school" that I use
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. Love it. Craig, who else have been some of your mentors in your life? Maybe your parents or just people in general, and maybe give us one and what you've learned from him or her.
Yeah, just one? Crap,
Yeah.
man, you could put
Or
me on the
two. Give us
spot,
more. Give us
yeah,
a bunch.
like, obviously, my parents, like, that's first and foremost, right? That's my upbringing and where I come from, especially my mom and dad, just the value of hard work, right? And putting the work in, nothing's ever handed to you. You gotta put the work in, and that's something that my work ethic stems from my parents.
What did they
And
do? What did your parents do for work?
yeah, so my mom growing up, like, she did some part-time jobs, but mainly she was a stay-at-home mom, which was awesome. And my dad is a toolmaker by trade, like, went to the local trade school, got a job right out of high school, like the old, the Texas Instruments, calculators. Yeah, so their hub was in Attleboro, Massachusetts, so my dad worked there, and, now he still does the same, which is crazy because I'm always like, "Dad, like, when you gonna retire or what?" But there's such a huge gap between him and the next crop of people that know that trade. So he's kinda like, "Oh, I'm getting paid, so I'm gonna keep on going," so which is crazy. So that's
Great
another
work
thing.
ethic, though. I could
Great,
see how you learned a work ethic.
absolutely. Like, there was plenty of times where I remember, like, "Dad, have you taken a day off in weeks?" Right? And that's just who he was. And because he knew with me with baseball, I had to go and do tournaments and all these certain things. So, everything I owe it to, my mom and dad.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, moving forward, Craig. So we're, like I said, we're late January, early February is recording this. You're getting ready. What for the season? Obviously, what are one or two things as a new manager that are top priorities for you as you get ready to go to spring training?
Yeah, the first thing is know the whole organization, right? Coming in, I didn't really know anyone in this organization, right? And so I have to learn a whole new crop of players, not only on the big league side, but also on the minor league side. And then you have to know every staff member in the organization, right? And that's something what I said in my press conference and what I addressed to, I guess, to kind of like all the employees in Baltimore was that, you're not on the field, you're not a coach or not a player, but if you're wearing a Baltimore Orioles polo, quarter zip, whatever it is, like you're impacting us on the field. And I value that and we value that. So that's something where just trying to learn everyone, trying to learn like the resources we have, and we have a ton. Right, and that's the biggest thing is, everyone's here to help our players get better and help us win games, so it's just keeping that North Star and, making sure the players feel that. So that's the biggest thing coming in, and then we had to hire, pretty much a whole new coaching staff, so that was a big change, and, coming into spring training, you wanna make sure that the coaches feel supported, mainly that's the biggest thing, and also they have everything they need to do their job, right? You wanna make sure, like, they're set up for success. You wanna make sure that they're comfortable with their areas, and also you wanna make sure the players are comfortable with them, So it's just curating, cultivating those relationships now, even though it's tough. I'm tired of being on the phone and wanna get in person and get on the field, so all that work is kinda getting to where we're at now is, we're weeks away, a week away for getting down to Sarasota.
Yeah, and real quick about the coaches, what did you look for when you and your team and the Orioles manage executives are looking at coaches? What are leadership qualities that stand out to you when you're looking to hire a staff?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, just like any I don't wanna lose sight of this, right? So I'm gonna say, like, we want, obviously, great coaches, great teachers, great communicators, right? I think that should always be the bar, right? Like, that's we're not trying like, I was telling a bunch of people where I've been fortunate enough to know and cross paths with a lot of people in this game. I'm not looking to hire my boys and my buddies, right? If that was the case, I'll have a staff of 70 people, right? Like, so I wanna like, this is I wanna bring in 'cause we're trying to win, we're trying to get players better. So you wanna find those, the great communicators and teachers and communicators, but more importantly, you wanna bring in great people, right? Where we're around each other 162 games a year, every single day, the players as well, right? So you wanted great people around there, no egos, they're not trying to put their stamp on players, like, they're literally, just genuine good people that wanna do this for the right reason, just help players get better and help us win games. And that was the biggest thing that we were trying to bring to the table, and, especially where we're at in this game, in this era, right? Everyone is about strategies and tactics, right? And where we're at in 2026, everyone has the same information, right? That's not the magic pill anymore. So our biggest thing is, culture and care over tactics, right? And tactics, and that's the biggest thing, because we're gonna be tactical, we're gonna be prepared, but we wanna make sure that we have genuine care for our players.
Excellent. So on this podcast, Craig, we usually end with what are you looking forward to most in 2026? I think I know you're looking forward to opening day. So
Yes.
I'm going to put a twist on the question because I have not brought up one of my all-time favorite players, and I should say I'm a big lifelong New York Mets fan, is Pete Alonso. So my question is, will Pete hit 50 home runs this year?
Wow, 50. Man, uh, I would love him to hit 50. So
I think he
I
is. I think
so
he's
I always when it comes to, like, questions like this and, with the guys on my team, I'm always gonna shoot for the over,
got to
right? And
shoot for the over. I love it.
I always shoot for the over, like, I believe in him, I believe in our coaches, I believe in Pete and his ability, and to hit 50, like, that's so like, think about that, like, 50 home runs in the big leagues, that's crazy, and you threw it out there like, "Yeah, he's gonna do it," which is nuts, but that speaks to the ability that Pete has.
He has, and look, he's got a really good lineup and around him, which helps. I think you guys have a really good lineup and team. And I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder now. I mean, he's a first year new team. Prove some people.
And the thing with Pete, he's always had that chip on the shoulder, right? He's always had to overcome something or be overlooked, whether it be in high school or at University of Florida, all these things, right? So he's always going to have that chip, and that's something that you can't put a value on. That's somebody you don't want to bet against.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll have to revisit it late September. We'll see if he's got 48 or something, and he's he's pushing for 50.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Craig Albernaz, new manager, Baltimore Orioles. Thank you so much for joining us on the From the Corner Office podcast.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Business Observer From the Corner Office podcast. I'm your host, Mark Gordon. This podcast was produced by Reed Corley of the Corley Company in Sarasota. To hear more episodes of From the Corner Office podcast, go to businessobserverfl.com.